Good evening, Patriots. This is Praying Medic, and this is my QAnon broadcast for Wednesday, July 24th. Welcome to the broadcast. Those of you who are following along at home, and I do recommend you do your own research, you can find Q posts on a number of different websites, including qmap.pub, qanon.pub, and like I said, there are other websites where you can find Q posts. If you have an Android phone and you'd like to get Q updates on your phone, you have several options. There's a QMap app. There is a Q Alerts app, light version and the full version. You can also get the Get Pushed app if you have an iPhone and get the QAnon alerts there. My theme for this broadcast is Flags Out. All right. Q posted this, and this was in regard to the upcoming Robert Mueller hearing before Congress. Never interfere, it's a quote from Napoleon Bonaparte, never interfere with an enemy in the process of destroying himself. Q writes, these people are stupid, enjoy the show. And yes, watching these enemies of the president is like watching a Coyote Roadrunner episode. They never learn. Q then reposted an Anon who posted an old drop from March where there was flags out on the fronts of houses. And so that was from March 25th. Flags out, have a great night, Q. That was the original post in March. This is just a repost on the 22nd. Let's see. I'll cover some of this, and this is not things that Q posted, just things that I'm observing. NSA has announced it's going to create a new cybersecurity directorate this year in an effort to beef up its offensive capabilities. The NSA Twitter account actually tweeted that out. General Nakasone and Attorney General William Barr were at an international cybersecurity conference on the 22nd, and it's actually 23rd when this is tweeted out. And I'm just curious, Q has not confirmed this, if the NSA operationalizing intelligence has anything to do with taking over operations from the CIA. We have this post from November 9th of 2017 when Q said that the CIA was going to be dismantled, impossible to clean, ops would be transferred to no such agency. Like I said, I don't have any confirmation on that. I'm just wondering about it. Okay, Trump students' Twitter account got queued for their post about the Department of Justice antitrust investigation of social media companies. This is an announcement from the DOJ that they're reviewing the practices of market-leading online platforms, looking into antitrust, anti-competitiveness, and there's an interesting update on that. I'll get to that in just a second. So Q reposted a couple of old drops, and you can see it's the illusion of choice is one. It's a graphic showing the fact that 90% of the news we get is controlled by 6 different companies. In this old drop, there was a link to antitrust laws, and this has to do with the Federal Trade Commission. And it says the FTC's competition mission is to enforce the rules of competitive marketplace, the antitrust laws. These laws promote vigorous competition and protect consumers from anti-competitive mergers and business practices. And Q wrote, reconcile Google, Facebook, Twitter, and then change we can believe in. Q reposted these drops and said, change we can believe in, Q. So Q has been indicating that changes are coming in the realm of social media. Now, I might as well let you know right now. I was going to cover this later, but I'll cover it right now. Just came out, and this is on the Department of Justice website. Today, Facebook has agreed to pay a $5 billion settlement in response to complaints about privacy. Department of Justice with the Federal Trade Commission announced today settlement requiring Facebook to implement a comprehensive, multifaceted set of compliance measures designed to improve user privacy and provide additional protections for user information. The settlement also requires Facebook to pay an unprecedented $5 billion civil penalty, the most ever imposed in an FTC case, and among the largest civil penalties ever obtained by the federal government. So that just came out today. I just posted that on Twitter a little while ago. All right, and I'll go back to where we were in my thread, which would have been right about here. So the Department of Justice is doing this antitrust investigation. Now, this Facebook settlement has to do with privacy violations. I don't think that gets them out of hot water as far as antitrust goes. So Sean Corticon got Q'd. He's one of the guys that posts quite a bit on Twitter about Q. And he posted this tweet. This is how Ray Chandler ties directly to child sex slave, human trafficker Jeffrey Epstein. He did a little thread there, and Q reposted his drop. And Sean talks about how this modeling agency, this is Rachel Chandler's modeling agency, lures in girls, and a lot of them are poor and they're just looking for money. And in some cases, they'll probably do just about anything for money, and then they get sold into sex slavery. So Q reposted Sean's drop and wrote targets, in parentheses, models, in quotes, made to fill out an extensive background report. Targets, models, asked in detail regarding their family. Targets, models, generally greenlit based on loner, insecurity, depressed, I guess this is a psych, P eval, probably psych eval. Targets, models, generally greenlit based on humble, poorer family background, in brackets, prevent possible legal retaliation. The spiderweb connects those most trusted, those most rich, those most powerful, safe, free, highest level security plus maximum protect, Q. So Q is letting us know that the people involved with Epstein are some of the most trusted, the most powerful, and the most wealthy people on the planet. And they go to great lengths to maintain security, and that has been broken with the arrest of Epstein, likely the testimony from Ray Chandler and other people that were involved. Okay, moving along. Ted Cruz said today I penned a letter, this was on the 23rd of July, penned a letter to Attorney General William Barr, Deputy Attorney General Jeffrey Rosen, and FBI Director Chris Wray, calling for an investigation into Antifa under the Racketeer Influence and Corrupt Organizations Act, RICO. This is basically organized crime or corrupt organizations. So he wants the DOJ to do an investigation into Antifa under racketeering statutes. And Q reposted a link to Ted Cruz's status. Must be relevant. I'm guessing Antifa's got problems, and we're just going to go right past that. Yes, we're going to go past that. Q posted a link to a John Solomon Twitter status and article. Solomon's article explains that U.S. Attorney John Durham wants to interview Maltese professor Joseph Mifsud. The FBI has claimed that Mifsud contacted George Papadopoulos regarding, well, actually the FBI claimed that Papadopoulos contacted Mifsud and was looking for information on Hillary Clinton and her emails. The information that John Solomon is getting is that was actually not the case. That Papadopoulos did not contact Mifsud, it was the other way around. And that was not mentioned in the Mueller report, and U.S. Attorney John Durham wants to interview Mifsud, or at least listen to a speech that he gave. So we're just going to continue with this. Mifsud's attorney, Stefan Rowe, was interviewed by John Solomon for this article. He said Mifsud was instructed to contact Papadopoulos and to facilitate a meeting with a woman that he was supposed to falsely represent as Vladimir Putin's niece. Now, this is Mifsud's attorney talking to John Solomon. All right, moving along. The Mueller report claims Papadopoulos sought out Mifsud in their first meeting, but evidence suggests it was actually Mifsud who sought out Papadopoulos. All right, and Solomon pointed out that although the FBI and Mueller's team made it seem as if Mifsud was in hiding and not available for questioning, and possibly, I think what I heard in the hearing today, Mueller's hearing, I listened to the entire thing, was that Mueller's report and the FBI claimed that Papadopoulos somehow impeded their ability to question Joseph Mifsud. But that is not the case. Solomon points out here, Mifsud was in Europe summer of 2018 for a deposition. He routinely corresponded with European political and diplomatic officials for much of 2017. He was interviewed by media outlets. He was actually in Washington, D.C. In December of 2016 at the height of the FBI's Russia investigation. So there's no validity to the claim that Mifsud was in hiding and no one was able to find him and they couldn't interview him. That's just not the case. Sounds more like they didn't want to interview him because he would have had information that would have damaged their case. Mueller's team also omitted from their report the fact that Konstantin Kilimnik, who was identified by the FBI and Mueller's team as a Russian intelligence asset, was actually a U.S. State Department informant. That is also in John Solomon's report. So Q posted a link to that and said, bigger than most people realize, be ready in brackets, Bob. Q. And now Bob Mueller testified today. And that was a dumpster fire. I'm just going to tell you. I listened to and watched the interview and posted snippets of it on Twitter, and it was not good for the president's enemies. Q posted this morning during the Mueller testimony, 2019, year of the boomerang, Q. And then Q wrote this: there are puppets and there are puppet masters. Which is Mueller? In brackets. Attempt to replace J.C. James Comey as FBI director failed. And then in brackets, attempt to regain FBI control. So this is something Q has not told us about yet. That famous meeting the day before Mueller was appointed special counsel by Rod Rosenstein. Mueller met with Trump, and there's this discussion that Trump may have tried to recruit Mueller. This was something that Q hinted at a long time ago. Q is now telling us that meeting was actually Mueller trying to get the job of the FBI director after Comey was fired because Mueller wanted to regain control of the FBI and the investigations. And then Q continues to write, the plot and plan backup to initiate special counsel to safeguard against criminal prosecution regarding illegal and criminal actions. So what we're seeing here now is the appointment of, well, Mueller's meeting with Trump was an effort for the deep state to maintain control of the FBI and the investigations. That didn't happen. Trump said no. So the next plan was to get Mueller in as special counsel to get rid of Trump and to prevent Trump and his people from doing anything. Why did they get Jeff Sessions to recuse? Because they wanted Sessions out of the way. He would have followed everything up. Everything that they did from that point on was an attempt to prevent prosecution. So then continuing in brackets, we have SC, special counsel, equals blockade. SC, special counsel, equals loss of FBI command and control safeguard. Department of Justice depends on what agency for investigating criminal actions. That's the FBI. Mueller and Uranium One. Mueller and Epstein. He buried the Epstein case and covered up the crimes, I'm guessing, is what Q's hinting at here. Mueller plot to remove duly elected POTUS. So Mueller was involved in all of these things. And Q has previously told us Mueller is going to be prosecuted for his involvement in Uranium One, maybe some other things. Biggest scandal in American history, treason, 2019, year of the boomerang, Q. Yes, treason charges are coming, regardless of what the naysayers would like you to think. QAnon pastry chef posted an interview with Ilhan Omar, who said it is actually, this is an old video interview from quite a long time ago. She says it is actually whites who should be feared. And I should probably see if I can play this. I don't know if you'll be able to hear it. Maybe if I, let's see. Well, not sure what's going on here. But basically in this interview, Ilhan Omar says it is whites who should be feared. And Q posted a link to that tweet. Who are the real racists? Projection does not work when we, the people, are awake. And, all right, moving along. I just thought this was interesting. U.S. Department of Defense Twitter account today tweeted out U.S. Air Force B-2 Spirit stealth bomber prepared for launch in a flight line dock at Whiteman Air Force Base, Missouri. The base recently celebrated the 30th anniversary of the inaugural flight of the B-2. Q has been talking about the B-2 being wheels up, ready to go, and I believe B-2 is William Barr. All right, the president tweeted out, "Truth is a force of nature." Q then posted a link to the Wiktionary page for force of nature. That page comes up with this. A bunch of different definitions. A mighty natural force which is beyond human control, notably potentially catastrophic, such as the elements storms, extreme temperatures, or geological activity. I think Q here is letting us know that Trump is hinting that the storm is here. And then down here we have number 4 with the force of nature, truth. So I'm not sure exactly what that reference is. I'm thinking it's a reference to the storm and truth, and the fact that the president said truth is a force of nature, and equating that to the storm. All right, Q then reposted an old drop from March 12th. Decide for yourself. Be free of outside opinion. Decide for yourself. Be objective in your conclusions. Decide for yourself. Be true in your own beliefs. Decide for yourself. Be open to following the facts. Decide for yourself. Be strong in defending your beliefs. Decide for yourself. Be resistant to blindly accepting factless statements. Decide for yourself. Be free. Those who attack you, those who mock you, those who call you, those who control you, those who label you, do they represent you? Or do they represent themselves in some form? Mental enslavement. The Great Awakening, freedom of thought, was designed and created not only as a back channel to the public, away from the long-standing mind control of the corrupt and heavily biased media, to endure future events through transparency and regeneration of individual thought, breaking the chains of groupthink, but more importantly, aid in the construction of a vehicle, a ship, if you will, that provides the scattered free thinkers with a starter new social networking platform which allows for freedom of thought, expression, and patriotism or national pride. The feeling of love, devotion, and sense of attachment to a homeland and alliance with other citizens who share the same sentiment. When non-dogmatic information becomes free and transparent, it becomes a great threat to those who attempt to control the narrative and or the stable. When you are awake, you stand on the outside of the stable, groupthink collective, and have free thought. Free thought is a philosophical viewpoint which holds that positions regarding truth should be formed on the basis of logic, reason, and empiricism, rather than authority, tradition, revelation, or dogma. When you are awake, you're able to see clearly. The choice is yours and yours alone. Trust and put faith in yourself. You are not alone and you are not in the minority. Difficult truths will soon see the light of day. Where we go one, we go all. Q. All right. And Q posted a link to a Fox News article about that old video of Ilhan Omar. It's where she says that white people are the ones who should be feared. And Q said the power of Anon research. So the Twitter account that dug up that video of Omar got into a Fox News article. More people becoming aware. All right, and we talked about the DOJ settlement with Facebook, $5 billion. I don't think it's a coincidence that the settlement was reached the day after DOJ decided to investigate antitrust actions on these social media platforms. For those of you who watch General Flynn's background, he now has a new one as of today. Oh, look, in keeping with our theme, flags out. So this is General Flynn's new background. And, oh, this is another just interesting thing. Q wrote, there are puppets, there are puppet masters, which is Mueller. This is Mark Levin's answer. He did a thread on the Mueller the Mueller testimony today. He says the most important revelation that came out of the hearing today is that special counsel was not competent to lead this or any other major investigation. He's largely unfamiliar with his own report. He was obviously a puppet of the radical partisans he hired and relied on in his office. Just going to give you a quick summary of the Mueller testimony today. It was a disgrace. I got up early this morning, 5 o'clock, and I listened to it and recorded a lot of sections of it. There were some good lines of thinking, some good lines of questioning from people like Matt Gaetz, John Ratcliffe, Jim Jordan, the usual suspects. Actually, Ben Klein and a few other congressmen got into some very good questioning, but it was really it was bizarre listening to Mueller answer a lot of these questions, because whenever people who were trying to defend the president would ask questions, very often Mueller would say, either I don't know, I won't talk about that, I'm not going to get into it, or he didn't seem familiar with what his report actually said. It seemed to me like Mueller was not the author of the report. Probably Andrew Weissman was the author of the report. Mueller seemed slow, confused, uninformed, and not very happy to have to be there. So let me double check the board and make sure Q has not posted anything since we've gone live, and nope. All right, that gets us caught up to Q. That is it for the broadcast today. Keep Q and the team in prayer, keep the president in prayer, keep Denise and I in prayer. Love you all. Catch you on the next broadcast.